Miss Breck, Super Hold, Vital Sassoon, Super Glue, little bit more mousse. That's what went on before the game. And that was our strategy at that particular time. We had a lot of fun. A great deal of fun. We won championships. We had a hell of a lot of talent. But I'm going to mention a game we won that we should have never won, probably, according to the paper and every statistic there is. It wasn't a championship game. We played Parsippany. This kind of shows you the staff and the talent. We were playing Parsippany Hills. They had 5 players that were going to go to Division I. They had the Singletons, All-Americans at Arizona. They played professional football. One of them might even end up in a Hall of Fame. Daily Record kind of said, you guys never win. But we worked hard that week. We came up with a game plan. Bellevue, Tardivi, Coach Spillman, all right, Coach Modula, all right, we had Coach Fletcher, Coach Taxiarco, Coach Eppolito, and we're playing there at Parsippany. The game started. Actually, Coach Bellevue said, don't look out at them as they're practicing. We're afraid like we'd run away. I mean, they were huge. The kid Baker, I mean, they had some kids that were unbelievable. Our guards were 145 pounds. Going against Baker, who was an All-American football player. I think he was in Iowa, 265. Well, first half goes by. We have no first downs. They have about 300 and some yards on the ground. But they had a coach that every time he ran down to the 30-yard line, he'd start passing the ball. And we had Jay Anderson and a lot of good players. Intercepts the ball, Jay does, boom, all the way down the field. We're up 7-0. Halftime, we're going in. The players are starting, Parsippany. They're chanting as they're going up the hill. Shut out, shut out. Coach Bellevue looks around and says, stop them. We're going to get this team mad at us, and they're going to annihilate us. Long story short, we did not have a first down till the end of the game. We ran out of guards. Jerry looked at me at one time. They were getting hurt. We ran out of 5 guards. Jerry said, we got a guard. I said, I think Joe Dulio can play guard. I don't know. We put him in, he gets hurt. And we just got about 2 more minutes. So Jerry said, I got to have a guard. Shouldn't give me a guard. So Timmy Jerkowitz, who got hurt in the beginning, he ran out there dragging his leg. And we said, Jerry, don't call 26 guard trap, only 24, because Jerkowitz can't pull. He can't run. We won that game 7-6. They had 22 first downs. Some have said it was Uncle Bill, who also coached with us, Jerry's uncle, said. Many say it was the best game ever played in Morris County. And it's a tribute to you and to the coaches here and the direction of our leader, Coach Tardivi. I'd like to end by saying to you, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of your life. Rodney and your staff, you did one heck of a job here. This isn't an event. This is a gala. Really. Look around. And then I'm going to end it with 3 words. God bless you. And I want you to make it your goal to be a legend to someone else. That's what life's about. This is about memories, great times, and good examples. I thank you. I thank the coaches that we have here today. I haven't mentioned all of them. They just did one heck of a job. God bless you.
First, I'd like to thank Rodney Lane and his staff for putting this event together. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there this time, but I would like to leave this message. Mr. Chardivi, Mr. Bodnar, Mr. Bellevue, all the other coaches that may be present, Mr. Spillman, Mr. Cummings, Mr. Modla, Mr. Connell, Mr. Ippolito. I just want to thank you guys for everything you've contributed to Dover football over the years. I want to thank you for taking young boys and helping them become young men. I want to thank you for the sense of pride that as I was growing up that I had just being a member of Dover football. All those state playoff games, and to be able to see what was ahead, to know that if we did the right thing in the field and in the classroom, that one day we get our opportunity to be champions as well. I want to thank the older guys that had an opportunity to come before us, that helped lay the foundation, and everybody that's just involved to help build community and build pride in the sense of pride in the program. Mr. Chardivi, I thank you for everything that you've done for me through the years. I thank you for just the sense of accomplishment that every player that had an opportunity to play under you had, to know that you put us through a lot of hard practices, but it was always rewarding in the end. And my family is grateful to you, and I'm grateful to you for everything that you've done. And I hope that you feel honored in this day, because you're truly a great man, and you've had a great staff through the years, and you've helped impact hundreds of people. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Blessing.
That was PJ Bess. He was paid in and everything to come to the event. He had a medical issue where he could not attend, so he sent a video. That's PJ Bess. Okay, the next person coming up is Curtis Cheatham. Curtis Cheatham had one of the best afros. Dover had real good hair when we went to school. Mario Nice had one of the best. John Travolta's. Curtis Cheatham and Jay Anderson had the best afros in the state of New Jersey. You guys know? Ladies and gentlemen, Curtis Cheatham.
As you can see, that's long gone. I wasn't expecting that. This is an outstanding event, and I wish that all of you could stand up here and look out at the sea of Dover people here. This is an amazing, amazing event, and thank you, Rodney and Tony, and all those that worked so hard to put this together. This is something that if you aren't here, you should really kick yourself, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Just a brief announcement. During the dinner break, I took the opportunity of contacting the Tough Guy Association, and they said that none of your cards would be revoked if you shed some tears during this weekend, because it's that kind of event where it's okay to let them out tonight. All right. There's been so many people who've come through the Dover program, and obviously there's so many of us here tonight. I've been tasked with the honor of just announcing the folks who are here, acknowledging them. You probably have heard some names because there's so many different eras represented. You may not know the faces, They may have changed over the years, and you might not recognize them anymore. So I'm just going to acknowledge those who are here. I will want to make this one disclaimer. I'm not responsible for the accuracy of what's on these cards, but I will do my best to just acknowledge everyone who's here and who took the opportunity to fill out a card. I'm going to start with the cheerleaders, and I'm just going to ask you to stand and be recognized in place, and that'll be it. The first person is from the class of '86. She's from I think her whole family's here, or at least a large part of it. Kathy Miller-Insky. This next person, one of the cheerleaders I'm very familiar with, graduated with her in the class of '83, Jackie Miller. The next cheerleader you were familiar with, you've seen her running around here. You probably saw her doing some splits in the hall last night if you were here. Diana Porfy, class of '85. Next one, a classmate, or the little sister of one of my classmates from the class of '85, Michelle Matthews DeFilippis. And the last card that I have, although I think there may be a few others here, is from the class of '86, Denise Taxiarco. You may also know her as Casey. All right, so that's all the cheerleaders that I had. Get your minds out of it. Oh, Sharon. Sorry, this crowd. I told you I'm not responsible for the accuracy. I gave you what I had. If you were a cheerleader in the air and I did not announce your name, please stand up and tell us who you are.
Sharon Masterson.
Yes. All right. Thank you. See, the coaches taught us how to adapt and see how we do this. Obviously, we've been talking about coaches a lot, and specifically the 4 legendary ones that we are here to honor. But they weren't alone, and again, over the eras, there were several different coaches who were on the Tarditi staff. I'd like to acknowledge the ones who are here with us. It's funny announcing him as a coach because he was also a teammate of mine. Lou Taxiarco. My heart smiled as I saw this man come in tonight. Loved watching him as a coach, even though I didn't work with him very much because he dealt with those guys that run the ball and those defensive backs, you know. But really a nice guy and an excellent coach. Bill Brown. This gentleman I caught on the tail end of my high school career, and I guess he was just getting started then, but I've seen him around and watched him through the years. Another outstanding coach, Chris Spillman. The next individual, been at the high school, or had been at the high school for years, also part of staff, Roger Keimel. I played with his son, the next individual, and it's good to see him here today, Ron Frister. I must confess, I don't know this individual at all, so it'll be good for me to make his acquaintance, Gus Modler. And the last coach that I have, I had the pleasure of sitting in with the session with him earlier, and he's been acknowledged as the assistant of the era earlier today, Mr. Ed Cumming. Now that's the appetizers. Now for the meal, the entree, if you will. Before I go through the players' names, I'm reminded because his name's at the top of the thing here, but I want to acknowledge and thank a Dover alumni who has been supportive of both the youth program and the high school throughout many years, has been around and done quite a bit for those programs. And want to certainly make sure we recognize Dr. Ralph Costanza. Okay, so going through the players again, just going to announce your name, year, and anything that I know about you personally, I'll bring that up, but we'll be brief. From the class of 1967, Dr. Ralph Costanza. I don't know if this was supposed to be alphabetical. Clearly, if they were, somebody wasn't paying attention in English class or what have you, so they're in no particular order. From the class of 1998, number 36 played fullback, Chris Franco. From the class of 2002, played linebacker and halfback, number 36, Keith Franco. From the class of 1990, played fullback, Will Lorenzo. Okay. I know a little something about this guy. Fast as the day is long. Played halfback. Played on that 1984 state championship team, number 29, Keith Smith. Next individual from way back from the class of 76. Great to have those folks here. Played offensive guard, number 61, Dave Condon. He wrote on his card, when they have a place here, playoff championship year, he writes, "Don't rub it in." I resemble that remark, unfortunately. From the class of 1982, he didn't write anything on here except his contact information, but Tommy McDonald. That's all right.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Still part of the family. Do these even get included as players? Number 44 from the class of 83, the kicker, Lou Taxiarco. And I'm going to take this opportunity, since he's the first one in the class of 83. We're hearing about all these state championships, 84, 92, 96. Listen, we were the first team that Coach Tardivi coached as head coach. You cannot take that away. Anybody can win a state championship. Not anybody could be the first team to play for Coach Tardivi. So I just want to make that known right here. The next individual I played with, although I was a year or two ahead of him, graduated in 1984, played defensive back. At least that's what I know, because he wasn't playing much when I was there, but he was a good guy. Number 82, Corey Brucia. Another one of the young men that was on the team in my senior year, played linebacker and graduated in 1984. Number 24, Joe Waskis. Fellow member of the Ballhead Club. Way to go, Joe. Heard from this gentleman earlier today. Really like him and enjoyed him. He played tight end and defensive back, graduated in the 1984 class. Number 28, Scott McDougal. Played center for the 1985, and graduated in 1985, played on that 1984 state championship team, Joe Grandinetti. Another gentleman that we've seen was my classmate. We played together for a long time, all the way through the, well, I didn't play through the youth because I could never make the weight. But maybe politically incorrect, but the fastest white guy I ever saw run is Steve Gorog, number 21. Another one of my classes. Good to see class 83 well represented. We were talking earlier, and we played right next to each other. He was a tight end, and I was a tackle, and we used to kill people on those cross blocks. And he is an encyclopedia of Dover knowledge, which I love because I can't remember all that stuff from way back then, but he can, and it's great to have him in the time leading up to this recount some of the things like that game against Valesburg and. Remembering some of those things that I've long since forgotten, but he's a good guy and played defensive end and tight end for the class of '83. Number 49, Tony Moran. I know this guy. Also class of '83. Number 76, played offensive and defensive tackle, Curtis Cheatham. I know this guy very well. In fact, when we saw each other last night, he reminded me that I'm probably his oldest friend, and he didn't mean old in age, he mean in the amount of time that we've known each other. But we grew up in the same neighborhood, and to this day, the hardest hit I've ever seen on a football field was initiated by this young man in that previously cited Valesburg game when their star came across the middle and got his clock rung. And this guy was a phenomenal athlete, played fullback, linebacker, and kicker. You really put that on the card? Number 36, class of '84, Darryl Dunn. Next individual, it was great to see him. I pick him out in a room of 1,000 people. He's one of the few people here who's actually thinner than he was in high school. Played tight end, defensive end. I love this. Where we have the playoff championship years, he writes foundation years. That means they didn't win a championship either. He graduated in 1984, Doug Sliker. I must admit, when I saw this card at first, I was like, who the hell is that? Because you never call him this. But defensive halfback from the class of '85, played on the '84 state championship team, Mario Neese. Buddy. I've known this young man an awful long time, a tremendous athlete, came through Dover, played halfback, strong safety. You've heard of his exploits from others who've been up here tonight. He also played on that 1984 state championship team. He was fast as lightning, but I want to remind you that I beat him in a 100-yard dash. Jay Anderson. And no, I'm never going to let you forget that. It's going to be on my gravestone. I beat Jay Anderson in the race. Next young man, I played with his brother. He was a center and linebacker. He played in that first championship year, '84, graduated 1986. The clown, Dave Alpert. Good to see this young man here. I'm glad he was able to convince his wife to let him out for the night. He played back in 1986. He graduated, played on the '84 championship team. He's an offensive guard and defensive end, all-area performer, Mr. Rick Torres. Another young man who, a lot of siblings that are in here that played in the Dover program. Played right guard on the '84-'85 teams, graduated in 1986. Number 65, John Zanotti. This young man, a profile in courage. He brought a lot of us to tears earlier today with his comments in the earlier session. And if you remember seeing him play football, he was just an outstanding performer, a great running back, also a tremendous middle linebacker, played on the '84 championship team. My friend, Bill Swayze. Next young man I know very well. We grew up from across the street from each other. He played on the '84 championship team, graduated in 1986, played fullback and defensive end, and I believe also beat you in a race too. Noel Blackman. One day asked me to tell the story about how his older brother saved my life from getting beat up by Eric Harris, but that's another time. This gentleman is a visionary and an untiring advocate for Dover football. He is the impetus behind this evening. And I got tired of seeing his posts on Facebook. I really, again, another post but he played defensive end. Refridge, really? What's that about? He played on that '84 state championship team, graduated a member of the class of 1986, played as number 79, better known as Night Train, Mr. Rodney Lane. Next individual played on that '84 championship team. Is everybody from the '84 championship team here? Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Played on the '84 championship team, member of the class of 1986, fullback and linebacker, number 44, John Wilkerson. Next individual, I think I remember him. He was a youngster when I graduated. He played also on that 1984 championship team. Widely recognized as the strongest player to ever play for Dover, which is great because, as you know, Coach Tarditi was a strong advocate and proponent of weightlifting, and this young man took it to the next level. He played as nose guard, number 52, Brian Cullen. Next individual you've heard from earlier tonight. In fact, I think he got things started off for us tonight. I knew his big brother, one of them, I guess. He played defensive tackle on that '84 state championship team. Graduated in 1986, Tom Chirp. The next individual played guard and tackle on that '84 team, also graduated in '87, played as number 70, Todd Paulus. I'm pretty familiar with this young man. I guess I don't know if I can still say young man, but he was my neighbor for the last few years, and more importantly, we coached together for